Hello and welcome to Brand Reviews 13th annual Halloween special. So yesterday we were talking about a John Carpenter film called They Live, and this year we're going to be doing horror reviews that kind of cross genre. Now a good example of one is John Carpenter's Vampires from 1988, because it's got a bit of a cross genre, not just action and horror, but also it's got a bit of a western influence as well, as in the western with cowboys. So we're going to talk about this film with my co-review of The Core, but before we do, I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of what the movie's about. So the film came out in 1998. After a brutal attack wipes out his team, vampire hunter Jack Crow, played by James Woods, seeks revenge against an ancient and powerful master vampire called Valak, who is searching for a relic that could make vampires immune to sunlight. With the help of his partner Montoya and a bitten woman linked to Valak, Crow hunts the undead across the New Mexico desert in a violent showdown between humans and vampires. So that's the film we're going to talk about here today. It's pretty much regarded as a bit of an underrated one. I would personally say it's a classic, but that's what we're going to talk about here today. Brandix Reviews Halloween Special.
James Woods. From the master of terror comes a new breed of evil. John Carpenter's vampires.
You never told me they could do that. I didn't know they could do that.
Hello and welcome to Brandix Reviews, back to the 13th annual Halloween special. And in this one we have The Core. You did the yes a bit earlier there. It's fine, we'll keep it in.
A word to your buff.
Yeah, that was a reference to Cinemassacre, wasn't it? The word to your zombie or whatever it was, I can't remember now. But,
It's a word to your mother. Or a word to your mummy or something, and it's like got like an actual mummy.
that was it, yeah. But we were obviously throwing the buff in there. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about John Carpenter's Vampires. Now this is another film. I think this was like the first example you gave of a horror film that isn't just a horror. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, just kind of the idea of like, it's like a horror film, but it kind of laps over with like action films, because it's, like, maybe sure I've already used this example, like Aliens, like, yeah, the xenomorphs are still scary and it's still very tense to watch. But it's not just like, you're just watching a load of victims getting like cut up by a slasher or something, or a bunch of people getting haunted by a monster that they can't possibly do anything about. Like, you're following around people who can probably do something.
Yeah,
Predator, for example, that would be like it's got a lot of elements of like a slasher, but at the same time, it's not a helpless like girl in the house with the killer outside. It's a bunch of like hard-ass military guys like armed to the fucking teeth getting hunted by an alien. But the alien's also armed to the teeth,
Yeah, and it does get a bit scary, even though the people in it aren't just your everyman. Kind of ties in what we were saying yesterday about John Carpenter movies, where the hero of the film, or the main character of the film, is an everyman, and he did that in a lot of his films. So it'll be like an ordinary person put into an extraordinary situation, and they've got to basically battle it out or whatever. This is a different one. This is more like Escape from New York or Big Trouble in Little China, where the main characters are themselves badasses and very much equipped to deal with it. But obviously this is the biggest thing that they've ever faced.
Yeah, Jack Crow, the vampire hunter.
Yeah, because I know when we did the thing a few months ago on this channel where we were saying we were going to focus more talking about action movies, and I think you referenced Vampires as an action film, where I was kind of thinking it's kind of more a horror film, but then you kind of made a point like, no, I mean it is an action film with a horror element to it.
It kind of straddles it. 'Cause it's basically the premise of Vampires is, unsurprisingly, and I know spoilers, guys, they're hunting vampires. But yeah, they have like a definite thing where it's like during the day when they've got the sun like on their side, they can take them out like relatively easy while they're sleeping and stuff. But like if you run into like a master vampire at night, like the lead character says, like, if you try and kill a master at night, he is going to fucking kill you. Like, you cannot take him.
Yeah, and this is a film that came fairly late on in John Carpenter's career, and I think it was after he did Escape.
It was like late 90s.
Yeah, 98 when it came out. So it's 10 years after
Yeah.
They Live, which we reviewed yesterday.
Certainly not the last film he ever did, but it was certainly towards his latter films. And like I say, I really like it. I think Vampires is a pretty fun film.
Yeah, the next film that he did was Ghosts of Mars, which has a similar kind of feel to it. It's not quite as good as Vampires. A lot of people really don't like that film. I thought it was good, but I think I'm one of the ones that like it.
So I'm a bit of two minds. I didn't hate Ghosts of Mars, but yeah, I like Vampires way more.
Yeah. And Ghosts of Mars was very similar as well. You could say that was like an action with a horror, sci-fi element to it. But yeah, Vampires was one that, like I say, did fairly late on in his career. And I think it was at a point where he was just winding down. I know it was said that after he did Escape from LA in 1996, that was the last film he did before this. He was wanting to retire at that point because he was just really kind of disheartened with a lot of the failures that he was having. Even though, I mean, I love Escape from LA, but I understand why it didn't do too well. But then he wanted to do Vampires, and obviously when the chance came to do that, because it is a very good film, and you can imagine that when it was in production and the script and all that kind of stuff, you kind of got a sense that this was a pretty good film, just on paper itself. The cast of the thing, obviously it's got James Woods. Casting James Woods is in this. Any thoughts on that?
Like I say, he's definitely playing against type. I mean, great actor, really like the guy. But like I think you were the one that said this. Like, usually he's like either the villain or the villain's sleazy lawyer. Like, he's not the person you would expect to be like the wisecracking, hard-ass, kind of badass.
Yeah, I think that was something John Carpenter said, actually, because he put it that way in an interview. I seem to remember saying, like, he usually plays the bad guy's lawyer. I have seen him in some films where he has been he has done like an action role, but he doesn't usually do it. He was in like Videodrome, for example. That was a David Cronenberg film. So he's done like horror and stuff. This is an interesting one because not only is it horror combined with action, it's definitely got a Western feel to it as well.
It crosses. I was going to actually say it crosses over with quite a few kind of, because definitely there are parts of it where it feels almost Dusk Till Dawn like, with that kind of like Mexican, kind of like desert kind of setting that it's got, and definitely the whole like you're saying, like cowboy, kind of modern day cowboy thing. Yeah, no, and also like they are even described as like these are like modern day crusading knights hunting, vampires, just rather than this being in like the Crusades or something. It's like in the modern day, so they're like, kind of like almost like rednecky type bikers and stuff, like hunting vampires.
Yeah. Something when I was looking into the backstory to this film that I wasn't aware of. The Montoya character played by was it Daniel Baldwin that was in this?
I was going to say it's one of the least expensive Baldwins, but also one of the Baldwins that hasn't killed somebody. So
that's true.
Swings and roundabouts.
Well, apparently John Carpenter originally wanted Bruce Campbell to play that. You can totally see that being that would have been good, because he'd just worked with him previously on Escape from LA briefly. I guess for whatever reason that didn't happen. But Daniel Baldwin's pretty good in this film, to be fair. And there's like I said, there's quite a few other characters, but they're kind of the main ones. Now this is a film that spawned 2 sequels that I know of, and that we've both seen. The second one wasn't terrible. It was straight to video sequels. The second one had John Bon Jovi in it, and I've seen it a few times.
I was going to say, didn't the second one, and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that was a fever dream. You're going insane, Cole. But no, like, I'm glad you said that, because I'm like, I swear to God, there's a sequel to this.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
And you might not remember this, but there was like a young guy in it as well. There was a young actor who now was in the Disney Star Wars, so it's a lot of bollocks anyway. But he was in Rogue One, and he's the main guy in the Andor series, I think it is. I can't remember the name of the actor. But you know what I mean, anyway.
I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, he was quite young. He was in John Carpenter's Vampires 2. I think it had John Carpenter's name as well as a credit, because I think they said he produced it, but what that means is he's probably just signed a piece of paper saying it's okay to make this film, and then gets a producer credit.
I don't remember disliking the second one, but I know it's all very much like they keep going into the same damn set over and over again. Just to keep trying to like hunt these vampires in this like ancient Mayan temple, so they keep going in and like kill some, and then they have to run away, and then they come back again. It's like, Jesus, like you were getting your money's worth out of this set, guys.
Yeah, it was a sign of a low budget film, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember we used to say that when I watched it. It's not a great film, but it's good enough. It's okay. I wouldn't rewatch it. The third film, on the other hand, I think me and you rented it one time back in the day, and it was just terrible.
It didn't have anything to do with the other ones, as I recall.
Yeah, I think the only connection was that somebody uses like a tow cable on a car with a winch to like drag vampires out of a building into the sunlight. That was kind of the only connection of any kind that I can remember in that film. At least the second film referenced the first one. Didn't they have like the version?
And again, it was very kind of, you could kind of see how the two fit together.
Yeah. So that's what you get.
Not necessarily as in like, oh, this is direct carry on from the thing, but they've got a very unique way of like, I mean, basically, like even as they say in the film, like, you know, they most of the stuff you think of to kill vampires don't work. Like, you basically got to like try and harpoon them and drag them out into the sun, which is like why during the day they can go after the vampires because the vampires are asleep, and they can drag them out into the sunlight as long as you're careful, because you know they will wake up and try and kill you if it's day. But like with the sun on your side, you can take them down if you like got a good team and you're like prepared for them. But at night, it's like, well, yeah, at night you're kind of screwed. So it's like during the day they're always hunting them, and then at night they're like shitting themselves and like on the run. It's like hunter becomes hunted, becomes hunter again, like, you know, almost like a cycle round and round as they try to like deal with this like ancient vampire.
Yeah, it's got like an interesting kind of concept and an execution to it. In terms of physical media ownership of the film, there's a pretty good Blu-ray that was put out by Indicator, I think it is. It's kind of a boutique label. You get plenty of extras on this, so there's plenty to watch, but you also get like a collector's booklet. I was kind of showing it to the camera before when you were talking, with some pretty cool pictures and information in there as well. I think you get a copy of the film on Blu-ray and DVD from the looks of it. So yeah, it's a pretty good transfer as well. I don't know about a 4K version of this, not one that I've seen ever, but yeah, I'm sure it would look good if they do someday do that, if they've not already.
Yes.
So yeah, just trying to think if there's anything else really to say. I remember, like I say, when it came out, it was around about the same time that Blade got released, because I remember there were like two sort of like vampire hunter type films that came out around about the same time from memory anyway. So it was pretty cool at the time, but we don't really get a lot of films like this nowadays. At least not decent ones that we will be talking about in 25 years or whatever. So it's just good if you haven't seen this one. The reason I say that is because you might not have seen it. Anyone watching this, you might have heard of it but not seen it, because as I was saying in the intro, it's a bit of a underappreciated one, is this, unfortunately. I think it deserves a bit more credit than it gets. Obviously, if you were talking about John Carpenter films like They Live and Big Trouble in Little China, some of the classics, I don't think Vampires gets that much of a look in, maybe because it was one of the later ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Also, I kind of like put it here that both the hunters and the vampires are kind of different in this film, because the vampires in it are very like, I mean, especially the goons are almost like, you know, they're like the really dirty and feral, and like these aren't the sort of vampires that could just walk amongst like people like easily. Like the masters could, but like they're just basic goons, like not a chance. I like to say these vampire hunters, they're not like your Van Helsing or anything like that. They are almost reminds me, at least thematically, of like there's basically this very long running TV show called Supernatural, and in that, all like the monster hunters tend to be like these like redneck biker types. It kind of reminds me very much, like at least thematically, of that. Because again, the hunters are not like, we can't, they're basically showing up mob-handed, like kicking the door down, like going in with guns and crossbows and stuff, like immobilizing the vampires and then like dragging them out into the sun.
And then at the end of the day, they go back to like a motel and just get a lot of hookers in and get drunk, just to kind of unwind.
Basically.
So yeah, I know it's a good point. Like you say, it's not the usual kind of portrayal that you get of vampires or vampire hunters. So it's certainly memorable from that point of view. I'm not saying it's never been done before, but it's not the usual thing that you.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like, this was the when they first did this. I mean, like for example, like the more thuggish, like almost like mindless type vampires were the original I Am Legends.
I was
because
thinking,
like the vampires in that are more like zombie-like almost.
Yeah, like the Omega Man. That was I Am Legend. Yeah, Charlton Heston. Yeah. Yeah, no. So we can leave it there anyway. Like
I don't know. I've got one more thing.
Oh yeah, go on.
Have you ever seen a Topher? No? Well, first off, they're not romantic. He's not a fag running around wearing his formal wear, seducing everybody in sight with his cheesy Euro accent. Forget what you've seen in the movies. He doesn't turn into a buff. Johnnies don't work. Ooh.
We've always got to do a line.
You've got two terrible Topher quote jokes.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's a classic. You clearly thought that one up before we went on air. So yeah, Buff, if you're watching.
That's like the famous thing he's got is like, yeah, crosses don't work. They don't turn into bats. You want to try garlic? You could stand there with garlic around your neck, and he's gonna fuck you up the ass while he's drinking your blood.
Yeah,
like it does nothing.
I think there's a Topher joke there as well. But
no.
But yeah, sorry, Buff, if you're watching this. It probably won't be the last reference that we do this Halloween special.
I mean, I feel like at this point, like, he knows what he's getting in for if he watches these reviews.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I don't feel like we're shocking him every time we do this. Like, I could never have seen them doing some, like, horrible Topher joke.
Yeah. So on that note, anyway, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow and every night leading up to Halloween night itself. We're hoping this year to put quite a few videos out and make it a good one. So, yeah, check back tomorrow, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.